So today we are speaking with Betty Banks, who has done lots of different things. She is an influencer, a business owner, a digital consultant, and a creative director. So welcome, Betty.
Hi, Nat. Thank you so much for having me.
So let's jump straight into it. Tell me how you got started, because you're doing so many different things. So how did it all start?
I remember checking my Instagram when I first started, and it was back in 2012. I'm actually a model. I became a model because my mum was a model and I wanted to carry on her dream. I started sharing my photos online and didn't realize I was creating a community by just sharing those photos and have those supporters back me up. Then those modeling photos became into using them for branding. So I started tagging all the brands I was actually modeling for. And then I fell into being an influencer. So I didn't kind of set my heart into becoming an influencer. I kind of just grew when the digital world started growing. I didn't even realize I was actually influencing.
And 2012, probably was the beginning of the influencer.
Yeah, it was the beginning of influencers, the beginning of Facebook, the beginning of Instagram. So it wasn't something where influencers were known for what they did. It was more of just a visual platform for models or for creatives, photographers to share their ideas online. But being able to build a community with what we share online creatively, I became an influencer.
At what point did you start collaborating then with brands, as opposed to you just sort of tagging or collaborating with anyone really in that sense?
Do you know what, Nat? To be honest with you, I actually don't remember.
Do you remember what sort of things you started doing? If not the specific first one?
The biggest one for me was probably anything to do with fitness and Nike. So I started sharing my outfits, as most people do. I started sharing my workout routines, and then it just kind of gelled together. One of my biggest influence projects was to work alongside Nike. So I was one of their social media influencers back when they started doing the NTC tour, the Nike tour circuit.
So did they reach out to you, or did you reach out to them?
They reached out to me because they saw that I was very passionate about the brand, first of all, and I guess I fit their brief into what content I was creating.
So what did they do? They emailed you, or they got in touch on Instagram?
So Nike worked with a PR company, like most big companies out there. The national brands are always facilitated by PR companies. So a PR company reached out to me and they asked me if I wanted to come on board to become one of those social media influencers and invite myself and other creators out there, other creatives out there, to become Nike's VIP social media influencers. And I was like, if I get to work out at the same time and I get to wear Nike clothing, then by all means I'm on board. And that was something that I was able to share and influence through my community that I created.
Yeah, that's amazing. So then talk us through the other businesses that you've got and talk about how they evolved.
The other businesses involve myself being a creative director to a digital creative agency. I'm now based in Darwin, but I was born and bred a Sydney girl. I guess being able to have the following in Sydney actually just gave me the vision of being able to collaborate with businesses and create that content of what businesses' wants and needs are. So that's why I decided to start my creative agency, because I know what businesses are looking for if they want to be able to portray themselves online well. And also, as an influencer, I know what other businesses should be looking for an influencer if they were to go down that route as well.
So this is the creative mob. So you started that one, and do you do all of that, or is there other people working in that one now?
We're a team of 4 people. I'm the creative director and I pretty much oversee all projects and bring on board clients.
Yeah.
I have a website developer. I also have a videographer, content creator and videographer. And I also have a social media manager that I'm mentoring and helping, getting her to understand what social media management is all about.
So then you've also, I don't know if it's recently, but you sort of co-created another similar thing with Jenny. I don't know too much about Jenny, but is it Betty times Jenny, or how do you Say
It's Betty Collab with Jenny, so
Yeah.
Betty Collab X with Jenny.
Yeah.
So Jenny is another influencer down in Sydney, Southwest. It's where I grew up, and being able to go back and to be able to work alongside together, what we created in the influencing world is just amazing. It's combining communities, combining forces, combining power.
So did you know her before, or?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we did.
Yeah,
We
cool.
knew of each other because we grew up in the same area.
Yeah.
So it was so easy for us to just cheer each other on, and supporting each other, and knowing that we're doing it for the bigger picture instead of competing against each other. Because most influencers out there at the moment are just all about, I'm going to be better by having this many influencers, and it's not about that anymore. You've got to really dumb it down to, I'm out here creating a community to one another and being able to support each other and being able to grow from that.
So what do you do together? I saw you running workshops.
So we run workshops. Our first one was actually 2 weeks ago. That was down in Sydney.
Yeah.
We really wanted to share what I was learning up here in Darwin and sharing in Darwin, because Darwin's actually quite behind in social media marketing in general. Digital marketing is not their forte. So I've been working with Treaty Business Consulting as one of their consultants, digital consultants. That's why I became a digital coach. Being able to teach small businesses how to actually utilize the platform to its full potential. So when Jenny heard that I was doing workshops like that in Darwin, she was like, why don't we do one in Sydney? And why don't we do one together? And I was like, hell yes. I think that's an amazing idea.
That's awesome.
You know, it's the first of its kind, to be honest, to have influencers that are actually in social media, content creating for businesses to be able to educate small businesses what they should be doing.
Was it small businesses or was it influencers at the workshop? Like, who was it for?
It was for small businesses.
It was for businesses.
Pretty
and how to use influencers. Like how to, yeah.
So we cover topics like how to actually content create for your small business, how to show up online, how to utilize the platform to its full potential, how to actually choose influencers and see if these influencers actually match your market. It was more in depth and more in detail than just, let's just choose an influencer because I have over 100K followers. Let's see if she actually suits your brand.
Yeah.
And just knowing that as an influencer, when we create content, this is what we like working with. So as a business, it's almost like stepping up that game.
Right. So it's from the influencer's point of view.
Inside a
What's going to
perspective.
make a good relationship?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. So then so you started off, you sort of fell into influencing. Then how did you get into the creative mob, and how did that all come about?
It was up in Darwin when I came up about a year and a half ago, nearly 2 years now I've been in Darwin, and I saw a niche in the market. I saw the niche in the market of saying there is actually no proper creative agency that does content creation, digital marketing, and influencer marketing properly. Yeah.
So it's really interesting you said that Darwin is a little bit behind, because I was actually thinking when I saw that you were in Darwin, I was like, that's really interesting, because I've never really come across any Darwin businesses in either of the things that I do. That makes sense that you've sort of started this up there. Talking about the social media thing, and that's your niche, that's what you train people on and coach and that sort of thing. What kind of collabs do you think are the best, not just influencer stuff, but what kind of collabs do you think work really well with the social media marketing side of things?
Any collab that's done well is a collab that we can see in each other's community grow. I feel like a lot of collabs are just one-sided.
Yeah.
It should be both sides. The best collab is always having a call of action after that, because posting up photos online is just you posting up photos.
Yeah.
Afterwards, how do you make a sale after that too? Is there a catch-up process where we can actually sit down and debrief and see what we can do better in the next collab? By all means, a collab doesn't necessarily mean that a sale is going to be made, but is there anything afterwards?
Yeah.
I always question, if a collab's done with myself, what's in it for me and what's in it for them?
Yeah.
Is it going to benefit us in any way? Is it going to get us more reach? Is it going to get us more followers? Is it going to get us more likes? Are we doing the right thing of what our niche asks for? Yeah. So you really have to come down to actually going, why should I do this collab? And am I doing it for the right reasons? Does it fit with my brand? Does it fit with my niche? And is my community going to understand it?
Yeah. And how do you know what your audience wants? How do you decide if this is the right company to work with or the right person?
Asking questions to your community. That's a relationship that you're creating online, is to be able to create a community and to create conversation between them. It's social media after all, not just one-sided. I'm quite passionate in being able to communicate with my community. So when it came to asking about a particular collab, it fits my brand or not, I always think and I go, is this out of my comfort zone? Is this too different? Is it too different to the point where my community is going to be like, what the hell is she doing? Or is it going to benefit me and surprise them and go, oh, wow, that's a brilliant collab, you know? And just asking questions, using your Instagram polls to ask questions and to get feedback is always a good way to judge whether if your community is going to like it or not.
So how then on the other side, like what would you say or what do you say to small businesses who are thinking about, you know, like collaborating in general and like specifically using influencers and like how to start that?
I always, from an influencer myself, I love it when a company actually puts in time and effort into writing me a proposal.
Yeah.
Because I'm also a business. It's respectful.
Yeah.
Was sliding into my DMs and asking nicely instead of just sliding in and going, oh, product for posts.
No, really?
Yeah. My girlfriend Jenny used this analogy. She says, how would you like it if you saw me in a coffee shop, but you don't know who I am, but I came up to you and I go, oh, product for posts? You know, it's, hi, my name is such and such. My company is such and such. I believe our collaboration is going to be amazing if we do end up collaborating together. I did some research about you. You really fit the brand and the brief, and I really think we can work together. Like, that's a nice way of saying it, right?
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I also have no idea what other people do. And then you sort of hear about it and you're like, really? Businesses wanting to do the free collaboration that has that mutually beneficial, like what's a couple of pointers that they can take to approach someone that they think's the right fit?
I think the best approach is definitely sending them an email and just being honest.
Yeah.
You know, and just saying, look, I'm a small business, I'm starting up. I would love your help and your time in you creating content for me. Look, I have no budget, but I can give you this.
Yeah.
And I don't know how much you charge for post, but maybe we can work a contra deal where it's going to be beneficial for the both of us. That's nice. And that's being honest and that's being straightforward. And that comes to creating trust. Every business that I work with, I want to be able to understand who they are and what they want to portray online. And then I get to sit down with them and understand what they want from this collaboration instead of going, I'm just going to give you free product. Can you post this? I want to hear about your back-end story. I want to hear about how your product's created, because if that aligns with my values, I would love to share that with my community.
And so with some of the businesses that you've, you know, met, like through your workshop that you did with Jenny or your, like through the creative mob, like what do you think people struggle with the most?
Having a vision or a direction of who they are online.
Yeah.
I guess businesses find it really hard to just portray themselves authentically online. I don't know what it is. I don't know that if it's being afraid or just not knowing who you are as a business.
Is it that showing themselves as a person or just the business sort of branding and vision?
On even starting, like going, okay, what do I do?
Yeah.
Because when you look at an image from a company or business, you can actually see who they are straight away, right?
Yeah.
But I think it's just getting their heads around the fact that it's okay to actually showcase your product and give us a story behind it. Because most businesses don't know branding, they don't know styling, they don't know what they should be showing or what they're allowed to show, or if they're showing too much. You know, it's that kind of just being afraid of breaking the rules. The more human a business is, the more connection I will have with the brand. It's funny, but it's not about perfection anymore. It's about authenticity and just being real. So from a business perspective, as much as I'm a business owner, I love sharing the stuff ups that I've done. I love sharing the fails. I love sharing my wins, and I love sharing who my team members are and what they do, instead of, this is my business, I'm here to sell my name. People aren't like that anymore. They eat from your stories.
It's so true. And it's that social media, you know, evolution, isn't it? That we want the story now. So what are some examples of some collaboration or an example of another collaboration that you've done like, you know, you were talking about Nike, that you found was really valuable for building your community or adding value to your community?
Yeah, my most favorite one would definitely be my first one. It was Nike. I had a
Yeah.
girl who shoot for them, and I can send you a photo. Actually, it's probably one of my most prized possessions.
Put that in the video.
Yeah, we'll put it in the video. It was my first collaboration, and it was me wearing a pair of Roshi fly knits.
So did you do the photo shoot with them, or they sent you products, or how did it work?
So what happened was that the PR agency reached out to me and said, we'd really love to shoot with you. Like, you just kept popping up on our feeds because I was liking their photos.
Love it.
I kept tagging them just to get yourself noticed. And yeah, the PR company reached out to me and they said, we really want you to shoot. It's a collaboration. Look, we can't pay you in any way, but we can give you a pair of shoes. And I was like, yes.
Oh.
I was like, yes, this is going to be beneficial for the both of us. And to be honest with you, it helped me create more collaborations after that, because everyone else was like, okay, if she could collaborate with a big company, what makes you think she can't collaborate with small businesses?
Yeah. So from an influencer perspective, like someone who's, you know, maybe newer in the influencer industry but growing, like what do you think makes a really good influencer, you know, in terms of creating those relationships with businesses and that sort of thing?
Being your authentic self.
Mm-hmm.
I really believe in that. Content creation is another part of being an influencer. I think the most perfect photos do well because Instagram is such a visual platform. But just being real about everything makes you a great influencer. And remember, not being in it just for free stuff.
Yeah.
You're actually creating a relationship with a business and helping them grow. You know, so that respect and that integrity you have for working with these businesses should be first and foremost your number one rule. And just be consistent.
So what is coming up for you? Like, what's the future looking like?
Oh my God, the future's bright. You're in Darwin, but also I haven't told anyone this, and you're probably the first to know.
Hello.
I'm going to take up motivational, inspirational talks and speeches.
Oh.
I've given a platform to be able to showcase my life on a stage for 15 minutes in Brisbane. So there's an Instagram thank you. There's an Instagram, let's just say, girl empowerment group.
Yeah.
They host events every quarterly, I believe, and they're hosting one on the 10th of August. So I'll be flying over to Brisbane and giving a beautiful inspirational speech, just about my life and my journey through life, and that, you know, you can take things by the reins and not give up when you really believe in something.
Love it. How exciting. Well, looking forward to seeing that.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, I think that's all the questions that I had for you.
Oh, thanks, Matt.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Oh, pleasure's all mine. I can't wait to see this online.
Yeah.